Hey there, beautiful Earth Angels. Elvia Rowe here, and offering you, as I do every month, 3 readings this month from the Woodland Wardens deck by Jessica Roux. I discovered this deck probably about a year ago, and she has done some work with the tarot. So the deck is not a tarot deck, but it does have some references to the tarot. So it's not all the cards, but some of them do correlate to tarot major arcana cards. So that's kind of fun. But before we get to that, I would like to offer you a little bit, as the angels have guided me to do this each month, just a little nugget of something to hopefully inspire you, hopefully allow you a little more grace and acceptance of this wild ride that we are all on. And I don't know about you, but I have to remind myself fairly regularly that I chose to do this, that my soul chose to do this ride at this time. And truly wonderful, truly magical, and also intense. So I hope you're being gentle with yourself and giving yourself plenty of time for you and just, being present with the moment. So my little nugget for you this month is about emotions, because a lot of us are feeling lots of feelings right now for all kinds of reasons, and all that's happening in the world is also something that's happening within our own personal lives, major transition, because when things happen in the outer world, they're also happening to us to some degree in the personal realm. So a lot of feelings, and one of the themes that's been very present in the last month or so is this. I have bumped up against a number of folks who are saying, but I'm feeling this, so therefore I can't feel that, and thinking that feelings are very binary, when in fact they're not. It's really, the angels have given me the vision of like a stew, and the stew is all of the feelings that are within us, that we bring to the table, whether there's something that we're conscious of or not. So to give you an example of what I'm talking about, Peter and I actually didn't expect to, because we've been looking for 2 years, but we found a house in Rhode Island that we are closing on in a few weeks, and very excited about it. And we are also packing up and leaving, not a small job, our home of 33 plus years, where we've done multiple renovations and tons of outdoor projects, really, really, made this place ours. And it's a sanctuary, it's beautiful. And so it's hard to leave, but we've also known for a while that this was our next step. So my example is, we are naturally experiencing some grief and some sadness about what we're leaving. It also represents life stage stuff, right? Because we're moving to be closer to our grandson. And at the same time, we're super excited and we're super joyful, and so many things that we're looking forward to that are down the road for us. And I'm using this as an example because they're pretty extreme emotions, and they're both there. They're both there all the time. And sometimes the sadness and the grief is more prominent, and sometimes the happiness and the joy is more prominent. And I'm sure that this story and my sharing this relates to many of you feeling these sort of emotions that feel like, because I think a lot of us were brought up to feel like if we're sad, we can't be happy, and if we're happy, we can't be sad, where we really have all of these emotions. Again, in any given moment, one's more prominent than the other. And one of the things that I think can be really difficult in the lightworker community is that we think that feeling sad and grief is something that's wrong, that we need to somehow mindset our way out of it. And mindset is so important, absolutely. But it's also not, I don't really like the term spiritual bypass. So I'm not leaning into that. But, these emotions are something that we need to listen to, that we need to honor, and, find out if there's some part of us that needs us to pay attention, that needs a little extra love, that needs a conversation with someone, that just needs a trip to the beach or some time in the woods, time with friends, time alone. It's really important to be aware of all of the ingredients in that stew that is you, to know, what's needed to keep everything in balance and to keep you healthy and whole. So, asking the angels if that's complete, and they are saying yes. So let's move on to our readings. And as we always do, I invite you to choose number 1, number 2, or number 3. Totally cool if 1, 2, or 3, all of them resonate for you. Take what feels right, and yeah, let's do this. All right, so for those of you who chose number 1, let's see what comes forward for you. It's a bat and hellebore. So these are animals and plants. I didn't say that before, but animals and plants. And this actually, I don't know if it correlates number-wise, but it's definitely related to the Hanged Man in tarot. And the key word for it is intuition. So what's really beautiful about this and striking to me is the bat, looking at things from a different perspective. It's taking time for yourself, being alone, being in that space that gives you clarity, whether that's, as I mentioned before, going to the beach or taking a walk outside. But it's about really allowing the space to look at things from a different perspective, to reframe your mindset. Getting a huge nod on that. We were talking about mindset a minute ago. It is important as we allow the feelings to remember that, you will get through this. And maybe it takes digging deep. And I'm getting a yes on that you may have to dig deep. I don't honestly know what hellebore. I should remember what it is, but I don't. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I feel like this is a pretty simple, straightforward card for you, number 1 folks, that this is about giving yourself the space to dig deep, to look at things from a new perspective, to allow the quiet time, to listen to, I'm hearing really important, the whispers of your intuition, not the loud, obvious things. Obviously, those are important, but to the little whispers, those things that your body are telling you, those subtler themes that are showing up in your life and in your cards that you're picking, and all of that. Make sure that you're really paying attention to all of that. Okay, so I had to look up what hellebore is about because it was just niggling at me. And it is actually a flower that is unusual. It blooms in the winter with downturned sepals. I don't know how you pronounce that, but essentially it represents pouring out the emotions, a symbol of emotional candor. So just really emphasizes a lot of what I was saying in my little nugget before about really being honest about your emotions and what you're really feeling, and trusting your intuition to help you guide through whatever healing needs to happen for you. So that is feeling complete for you, number 1, folks. All right, for you, number 2 people. Let's see what's there for you. And the otter and cattail, peace. Oh, this is so beautiful. I love this. It feels like just being held, just allowing yourself to be held. Let other people support you. Lean into your network. This is just a card of gentleness and, of course, peace. But it's really, I love that image, and maybe you've seen it, of otters that are sleeping and they hold on to one another and they float on their backs in the water and just, they're in community. And while this guy is alone, I'm also getting this sense that he's just beautifully held. She's just beautifully held by the cattails, and just enjoying that experience of letting other people take care of her. And I feel like that's a really strong message for you, number 2 people, getting that hugely. My heart's just going, yes, this is it. Allow yourself to be held by others. Allow the support that you need right now. It's okay. And whether it's leaning into friends or family or finding a good therapist or reconnecting with a good therapist or doing art or music or whatever with people that inspire you, this does not feel like just doing art for yourself, because it definitely feels like other people need to be part of this, because the cattails are really symbolic of being held, and it feels important that you be held by people, by community. And so if you're not sure quite how to do that, allow yourself to be curious, allow yourself to have that dialogue, that conversation with the angels, and just say, okay, what's the best way for me to be held by others right now? And just lean into that. Ooh, you number 3 people. There is a lot of emphasis on this card because I've tried to record it twice and something's going on with my laptop. Angels of technology. I hope this works. Yeah. So really interesting. And I want to start before I show you the card, because I'm guided to use the same card that I picked 2 attempts before. Is that when things happen, when we're doing readings, it's important to pay attention. Sometimes it doesn't mean anything, but a lot of times it does, and it's part of the message that's coming forward with the card. And so for those of you who chose number 3, huge emphasis on perseverance, on working hard to make something that's important to you happen, assuming that it's guided, that you work hard to make it happen. And everything that's about this message, lots of emphasis. So the card is the porcupine and an enemy. And the porcupine, the key word here is boundaries. And there is definitely a theme of boundaries here. But what you'll notice is this sweet creature here doesn't have her hackles up. She doesn't have her spines up. She's not really in get away from me protection mode. She's more just enjoying where she is and smelling the flowers and enjoying Mother Nature. And huge correlation for me personally in my intuitive vocabulary with anemones, because it was my mother's favorite flower. So whenever I see a card or a message that has anemones in it, I always, remember her, and I think of her, and I think that maybe there's a message about mothers here, and there is. And so the message here is about our relationship with Mother Nature. And looking at it as a relationship, because that's exactly what it is. We tend to, I think our culture is so disconnected from nature, just generally. I know not all of you guys, but in general, I think we're pretty disconnected from the earth and from the animals and from the things that we do that affect and impact the animals and the plants and the trees and all of that. And you guys are all sensitive, so I'm sure you can relate. It's like if I drive by where they've clear cut for trees, my whole body just starts crying. I feel it, and it's hard. And there's not necessarily anything we can do about that per se, but we can work on our own relationship with Mother Nature and commune, as this beautiful little guy is, with nature, to find out what it needs from us, to work on that relationship, and how do we become better stewards of what is within our control. I was just talking to our oldest child the other day, who works for the California EPA, and they were saying that the yellow lines on roads is actually paint that contains both lead and hexavalent hexavalent chromium, which is the chemical that was big thing with the Aaron Brockovich, if you've seen that movie, and it's dangerous, and so is lead. And there's not a lot of it, but it is there. And my eldest was concerned about it, and that's just one example. There's so many ways that we are doing things to the earth, to the planet, that we can do better. And I think that's really the bottom line, is that we as a culture can do better and need to do better. And so this is not meant to overwhelm or depress anyone. This is about you who number 3 came forward for, just taking care of your space and your relationship with Mother Nature, and honoring that, and just being in dialogue. How can I be a better steward of the earth? And it's confusing, and there's a lot of conflict, because most of us, our carbon footprints are not small, but there's a lot. I've, as you probably know, been studying astrology, and there's a lot that's coming in with the transits that I think there's going to be some pretty major innovative shifts that are going to support our efforts to reverse climate change. So I feel really good and positive about that. But it starts with us making that a priority, and not just culturally, but for ourselves, and just doing whatever we can to feed into the collective shift that, all is well. Yeah. Just going to get my pendulum to see if there's anything else. I'm just going to circle back to the boundaries piece of it, because I think I'm looking across the street at many lawns that are perfectly manicured, in sharp contrast to ours, where we don't use any chemicals, and I hand pick all the weeds. Anyway, we do what we can, and we protect ourselves, because sometimes it feels like we're swimming upstream, and it'd be so much easier to do it a different way. But protect your belief system, protect your relationship. That's the biggest part. Protect your relationship with Mother Nature, because it is so important, just quintessentially important. So I'm really hoping that this video has worked. I won't find out until I turn off the recording. All right, angels, is there anything else that you need from me for this particular reading? No. Okay. So with that, I wish you a beautiful, blessed day, month. I will be back August 1st. And in the meantime, just, be gentle with yourselves. Just have grace, honor your emotions, whatever it is that's coming up. Just knowing that you are held, that you are loved, and that even though times that may feel like something that isn't part of your reality, just, really work on that faith muscle, and know that you can reach your angels through your intuition. And I think that's a really important, when I've gone through my emotional cycles, that the angels always bring me back. I just have to give it time, and I have to go deep into listening. So, give yourself the space and the time and the grace to do just that. All right, enough. I love you. Be well. Bye.